Good Saturday morning to you. Hope you're having a great weekend. It is Super Bowl weekend, the greatest sports weekend in all of the country. We anticipate and we wait for the great moment where young versus old, Brady versus Mahomes, Tampa Bay versus Kansas City, the ultimate showdown. The anticipation is often too much for us to take on the day before. That's what we're going to talk about. The day before. It brings about its own anticipation and its own interior excitement in our hearts and around us. You can feel the energy in the air the day before. With Super Bowl rolling around, everybody's getting ready, gearing up, getting ready to sit down and watch one of the greatest games ever played. But that's not what we're talking about this morning. We use that to talk about the importance of examining the day before. Let's look at the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verses 29 through 32, where my friend Pharaoh could not anticipate what was going to happen the day before it took place. Even though he was told by Moses that the Lord was going to bring yet another plague upon Egypt, he could not anticipate. He could not see what was about to occur. And here's where it happens. Now at midnight, the Lord struck every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat at the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and every firstborn of livestock. During the night, Pharaoh got up along with all of his officials in Egypt, and there was a loud wailing throughout Egypt because there wasn't a house without someone dead. He summoned Moses and Aaron during the night and said, "Get up, leave my people, both you and the Israelites, and go. Worship Yahweh as you have asked. Take even your flocks and your herds, and you asked, and leave, and also bless me." That was some kind of day after to the day before. Pharaoh was warned that something was about to happen, but he did not pay attention to it. And as a result, he experienced the realism of the day after. But on the day before, it was business as usual in Egypt. People were caring for the livestock. People were going to work. People were monitoring their fields. It was business as usual the day before. You know, when I think about the day before, you and I, like Pharaoh, have day before. I can remember the first day before school, the anticipation that I had. I had my clothes all laid out, and I was just ready to go. Had my hair all fixed up and my shoes all lined up, and I had my book satchel and my pens and my inks and my papers all lined up, ready to go into class, ready to learn the day before. Then I got to school and I found out that it was all about work. It wasn't all play. The day before, anticipation can be great, but the reality of what happens the next day can be shocking. When I think about the day before, think about all the people you've known who were normal one day, the day before an accident. Everything was fine. Or think about someone that you knew who you just talked to on the phone, or who you just worked alongside on the job the day before. And then the next day you get the call that they have died. But the day before, they were just fine. What is the difference between the day before and now? First of all, you don't know where your day is going before. You don't know where your day is before. But and it's kind of amazing because you don't know the outcome. The day before, you're just living. And then when it happens the next day, you're still living, maybe a little bit more in shock. But we need to understand that when we're talking about the day before, you don't know where your day before is. The day before the accident, the day before your death. You don't know where that time is. Therefore, you must live. And as you live, your life unfolds before you. But everyone has a day before. Pharaoh had a day before the firstborn announcement. Like I said, people were married, giving in marriage. People were tending their fields and their flocks. People were carrying on normal business in the marketplace the day before. But that night, Pharaoh and Egypt were shocked because the firstborn in all of Egypt passed away, from the greatest to the least, even Pharaoh's own son. The day before, everything was fine. The day of, when the sun rose in the land of Egypt, the firstborn were dead. Pharaoh had no idea that this could happen. Even though he had gone through the plagues, he did not take it seriously. Many of us don't take the day before seriously. Many of us sit unprepared the day before. Many of us live our lives without thinking the day before. And then when what happens, the accident, the sudden death, things will never be the same. My friend, Satan would have you believe that you've got all the time in the world. Don't worry, there's always tomorrow. We hear that all the time. Don't worry, there's always tomorrow. Satan convinces you that your day before will be a day after, and then the day before will be a day after. In other words, Satan has convinced you that you're going to live no matter what. You all have been confronted with the idea that you got all the time in the world. Don't worry about it. You got all the time in the world. But the Bible says in James 4:14, what is your life? It's as a vapor that appears for a short time and then vanisheth away. As you live your life the day before, unbeknownst to what's going to happen tomorrow, you need to have a certain mindset as you walk through this life. Yes, the sun will rise tomorrow. And then when the sun rises, you will learn your fate today. The day before, you had an opportunity. But the day of, you have to live it for all that it's worth and for what that day brings you. Pharaoh had a day before, and he was warned, and he did nothing. And all of his nation suffered. We have warnings that we blow by, that we run through, that we don't pay attention to. The doctor tells us, exercise more. We don't exercise. The policeman tells us, slow down. The next thing you know, we're in an accident or we've hit someone. We have warnings all around us the day before. How many of us are paying attention to the warnings the day before? We need to understand what Solomon wrote in Proverbs 27:1 when he said, boast not thyself on tomorrow, for you know not what tomorrow may bring. And then we need to pay close attention to what Jesus said in Matthew 24:44, where he says this is why you also must be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour that you do not expect. Then you turn over to Luke chapter 12 and verse 40, and the Bible says, you also be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. One day Jesus is going to return, the day, and there will be a day before. The day before Jesus returns, what will you be doing? The day before Jesus comes, what will you be saying? The day before Jesus comes, how will you be living? Well, it's the way you're living now. Because every day of life has a day before. And if you are not ready in that day before, when that day comes, you will not be ready. So the call of the morning touch this morning is for you to consider getting ready the day before. Don't wait till the accident. Don't wait till the death. Don't wait till the shock of living that day. The day before is now, my friends. Get ready, be ready. And as Luke 21:28 says, stand up, look up, and lift your head high towards redemption. Now is the time. Today is the day of salvation. Your day before is now. What will you do with the time that God has given you? Because that day before will turn into reality. Where will you stand? You know, the Morning Touch is brought to you by the FSBC in Glendale and the Chaplaincy for the Homeless. I hope that you consider this the day before and that you will take the actions that you need and come to know Jesus Christ. God bless you and keep you. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl the day before. Don't forget, you're in control of the day before. God bless you, and we'll see you again next time on The Morning Touch.